Hey, what's up guys? Alex Davis here and excited to announce the new style and launch of my YouTube channel. If you do like this, then please smash the like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for more content. So Monday through Friday, I'm going to be posting some self-help content, some fitness, fashion, literally anything related to business, entrepreneurship, self-growth, self-mastery, you name it, I've got it here on this channel. So listen, here's the deal. The top CEOs in the country, they all read books. Today's video is all about how to read a book a week and how important it is for you and your mental health and your well-being as a person. Tai Lopez likes to say, the more you learn, the more you earn. Now, a lot of you may not be into monetary growth, but you should be into this type of growth. The more you learn, the more you earn. The more value you can provide to the world, provide to yourself, or provide to your relationships. And that is essentially why I made this video. Because a lot of people stop reading and they start just consuming short pieces of content on TikTok, which allows your brain to just be adjusted to short spurts of content that just get thrown at you and you're not really learning. Maybe you learn a few quick facts, but substantially you're not learning anything of actual help. So today's video is all about how to read a book a week. But we need to first start about why it's important to read a book a week. We're all humans and we're all growing, but there's something neurologically that goes on in your mind. It's called neuroplasticity. It's your body's ability to drive in neural pathways over a long period of time, especially when you're a younger person. This allows you to learn new things, learn new habits, skills, things that will help you grow and develop into a person that you want to become. And we all should want to become someone because we all have goals, dreams, ambitions, desires. And so eventually, as we get older, that neuroplasticity starts to slow down. We can't learn things as quickly and as fast, and our beliefs start to cement into the ground. That's why you hear old people that are set in their ways. They essentially just have solid neuroplasticity that doesn't allow them to learn anything new. So if you're consistently reading a book a week, like the books I have behind me and the books that are coming in the mail constantly, then you will start to have these neural pathways paved slowly but surely as you start to grow. Now, a lot of people aren't really into the whole self-help mindset thing, and they don't really understand it because, it's a culture, and why would you want to join another culture? Because we're all in our own identities and cultures as it is. But it's not necessarily like some separate entity, and people get a lot of shame for being in the self-help community. But seriously, look at it. If you're faced with a problem in your life and you just want to fix that problem a little faster, a little quicker, a little smarter, without reacting, exploding, and getting angry, then read a few books on how to handle problems, situations, how to critically think through an issue. All of a sudden you have skills, hard skills that you can use in that situation. Books allow you to take actual situations and then help you develop and react to those situations properly. Now, when I say a book a week, I'm not talking about the Harry Potter series or the Percy Jackson series. Rather, I'm specifically referring to nonfiction types of books. Now, maybe you're not into self-help, but maybe you're into cooking or working out. There's also nonfiction books on cooking and working out that you can use and utilize to help you grow your skills in your specific niche. I happen to like self-help, and that's where my forte is, and so I'm specifically going to be reading self-help books, finance books, business books, because I consider myself an entrepreneur. The goal about reading a book a week is simply to actually like the book that you're reading, because there's some books behind me that I bought and I haven't really touched yet because I haven't gotten around to it, I haven't gotten the time, but also because I haven't really enjoyed reading. For instance, there's a book on how to talk to anybody. I want to learn communication skills, like my communication skills on here, but also my networking skills when I'm out in public. And so I got that book, but it turns out that I didn't really like the contents of the book. I like the concept of the book, but diving into it and staying tuned with it for an entire week is kind of difficult, kind of drawn out, and all of a sudden I'm not reading the book. So I got to find some books that I enjoy, and you need to find books that you enjoy. So play around. I mean, honestly, what you should do is you should say that for the next five weeks, just try to read one book a week. Make the book small. I still have some books back there that are 500 pages that I haven't gotten into yet because I'm trying to get to mastering 200-page books in a week. I'm kind of a slow reader. I have my friend who literally reads 200 pages a day, and she just blows through books like it's no man's problem, and that's fine for her, but not every single person is a speed demon when it comes to reading books. So find a small little book, find about 5 of those, and read through them throughout the course of a month. So the actual way that you want to go about doing this is setting aside 1 hour a day, maybe 2 hours a day, to bang out maybe 50 pages or 25 pages. You see, If you break it down, depends on how you break it down and how many pages there are. Ideally, if we're talking 200 pages and we have 5 days to do that, then it should make sense to do 40 pages a day, because 40 times 5 is 200. So obviously 40 might seem like a lot of pages, but if you set aside just an hour in the morning or an hour before bed, then you can bang out those pages no problem. But if you are like me, a slow reader, you might want to take a little bit more time. So maybe an hour in the morning and an hour at night. Or just sporadically throughout the day, making sure that every single hour you're getting certain pages written. But guess what? We have lives, we have schedules, and obviously we can't accommodate the reading into our lifestyle. So what I would suggest is finding time in your life where you're currently just spending time scrolling through social media 8-10 hours a day, and you can completely replace that activity entirely with, yes, reading a book. So in the morning, I wake up at 5 a.m. I really start my day at 10. But 5 to 6 is all about getting breakfast, working out. But as soon as 6 o'clock hits, I start a deep work session, which is 1.5 hours of solid, undistracted work, which could be utilized to reading a book. Now, I don't normally read a book during this time. Like right now, I'm in Deep Work 1, which I'm filming this video on. But obviously, I could be utilizing that time. Now, I also have a second deep work in the morning from 7:45 to about 9:15. And that time is normally used for reading a book. So I grab a book off the shelf, especially one that I pick out on Monday, and I just crank through that book as fast as I possibly can, obtaining as much knowledge as possible. Here's a quick little tip that has nothing to do with reading a book a week. I love to make notes in my books. Okay, my entire side notes and all of my pages are just completely cranked with notes. Notes about the stupidest things. I mean, if some little sentence reminds me of some person in my life, boom, I'll write it down. Hand goes to memory a lot faster, and if you associate this line with a person in your life or a situation in your life that has occurred, you will be more likely to remember that in the future. It especially helps in self-help when it gives you all these theories and concepts and equations that kind of get confusing and tangled, and when you read about enough of it, it just it's too much, and it's automatically the same. A little bit of a caveat when it comes to reading a book a week is eventually if you start reading the same types of books, you're going to start seeing a lot of similar patterns within those books. Because, of course, these books are used as inspiration off of one another, and you can even start to feel like you're getting burned out of reading because a lot of the things that people are talking about are being repetitive. That's why if you start reading a lot of self-help books, you'll realize that a lot of the same jargon is used, a lot of the same concepts are used, a lot of the same ideas are thrown around and just presented to you in different ways and fashions, which is cool because it's all subjective and objective to the author, and that makes the book interesting. Precisely the reason why you need to read these books, because every book you read gives you a new perspective on life. So a type of book I really recommend you reading is autobiographies and biographies, because these are specifically about people. And people are the most interesting because we too are people, and we learn from people the best way as possible. So what I would recommend is you finding some ideal leaders in your life that you think are the best. Try to see if they have an autobiography or a biography that you can grab a hold of and read. Behind me I have Leonardo da Vinci, I have Steve Jobs, I have Warren Buffett and Bill Gates. So I have the main guys that I want to be reading and spending time learning about, because if you learn the entire lifestyle of this person, you can learn what it really takes to become success, because often the blueprint towards success is kind of unknown. Like I said again, if you're not an entrepreneur, if you're just more of a person who likes to cook or likes to do fashion or even working out, you can still find some awesome biographies and autobiographies from amazing thought leaders in those categories. Just make sure to find a good book that is also credible. Another little caveat is credibility. Of course, a lot of these authors are credible, but you need to make sure that the person you're learning from isn't just some person who wrote up a book in a few hours. I have read a few of those books, and maybe I've learned something. I've never not learned something from a book, but it's still, it kind of distorts the way I'm thinking about things, and I'm wondering, why am I getting these thought patterns in my life, and why are these being developed? And all of a sudden, it starts to come to fruition. I understand why. You need to make sure the author is actually doing what they say they're doing and not just thinking in practice. Maybe it's a PhD, and that's awesome. But if that PhD is not actively pursuing or practicing business, they're talking to you about theory. And you're learning theory so you can apply it to real world. And if they've never practiced it, how do you know that their theory works? Based on other people's experiments? I don't really believe that. I want people to actually be hands-on doing things, and I want to see a huge success from them before I start doing things that they're doing to make sure that what I'm learning is actually credible and is actually usable in the real world today. Another little caveat is sometimes the information in books is presented by an author that is credible, but the actual contents of the book may not be credible. The actual theories and formulas about life just don't work. I mean, simply put, when it comes to self-help books, there are a lot of formulas. There are a lot of different techniques you can use, a lot of different structures you can use. There's a million ways to build your morning routine, and I've been practicing with it for about, I don't even know, an entire 1 year and a half. A lot of people are saying, wake up at this time, that time, do this thing, that thing. But what you need to understand is that no matter what you're learning, where it is you're learning it, you need to remember under it all, there's one important lesson. There's always an intrinsic motivation for why you're doing something. Never get caught up in the formulas, because life is not a formula. Life is just an organic way of going around things, particles bouncing off one another, so you need to treat it as such. If you just apply formulas to everything, you're not a robot. You never will be. You're a human being, of course. And so what you need to be doing is actually applying these lessons, but understanding what these lessons mean. So in self-help, there's a lot of things, like I said at the beginning, reacting to problems, critically thinking through situations, or, like I said, morning routines. Obviously, there's a lot of different ways to build a morning routine, but you need to understand why you're actually building a morning routine. A morning routine is set in stone and set in place to make sure that you, as an individual, are utilizing your time most effectively throughout the day, maximizing your output as you're inputting other things into your life. That's why I do deep work sessions in the morning. Those are formulas and ways to keep myself disciplined and in line, but ideally it's a way to actually optimize my day and make sure that I get as much done as possible without little distraction and no distraction at all. That's why I'm waking up early before any person comes to bother me, but I'm also making sure I have organized time where my phone is set away and I'm just strictly working on a task persistently. So every single thing you're doing in life, whether it's cooking, fitness, fashion, whatever it is, it has an intrinsic motivation. You need to understand that intrinsic motivation, what's hiding underneath the surface, and that way you can just completely crush anything that you're doing. Because when you read through the book, you're like, oh, okay, we're talking morning routines. You're trying to utilize your time most effectively, eliminate distractions, and make sure that you're managing time. So when it comes to reading a book a week, it's not that difficult. All you need to do is find something you like, make sure you stick to it, and try to actually commit to it. That is the huge thing. I mean, every single person likes to do things, likes to start things because of the hype and the experience. And a lot of people, like a lot of CEOs, read a lot of books every single year. But again, if this isn't your lifestyle, it's not going to stick with you. I'm sorry. You need to become what you say you're becoming. It's not just an activity you add into your life, it becomes a lifestyle. Now, I'm not saying associate an identity as being a reader, because that can get a little bit fuzzy. But what you should do is actually adopt a lifestyle of somebody who is an active learner. Don't say you're necessarily a reader, but say that you're an active learner and you're making sure that all throughout your lifetime you are learning new concepts, processes, and you're never really solidifying that neuroplasticity I was talking about earlier, and you're always trying to gain new concepts to apply them to real-world situations to make sure that you are more valuable out in the workplace, out in the marketplace, even at the home with your friends and your family, and you can just do whatever it is you're saying you're going to do effectively. That will allow you to stay tuned and stay put inside your habits, especially when you're establishing them, and actually making sure that you commit to them. But the last thing that I'm going to leave you off on is that after I shut off this camera, which is going to be in the next few minutes, after you stop watching this video, you are going to go on with the rest of your day, doing whatever it is that you do every single day for the rest of your life. This process and this habit has greatly impacted me as a human being, has allowed me to speak more clearly, learn new concepts quicker, and actually develop the life I want to be living. But again, if you don't want to live that life, or if you want to try it but you weren't committed to it, you're not going to do it. So when I shut off this camera and you turn off that video, life is just going to go back to normal. Life isn't normal, and it never should be. It's an ebb and flow. At any moment, you have no obligation to be the person you were 5 minutes ago. 5 minutes before you were watching this video, I'm pretty sure you had no concept of reading a book a week. And if you did, then you came to the video for the right place, to read a book a week. So obviously you have interest in it. Now you need to commit to it and execute upon that idea. So what I suggest is placing down your phone, finding time tomorrow morning to read a book, any book. Making sure that it's credible, making sure you enjoy it, and making sure you actually gain some value from it and it's not some Percy Jackson or Harry Potter stuff, which again, entertainment is fine, but you get enough of that on social media. You can set time for reading entertainment books if you want to. That's fine. I'm talking nonfiction books that are pertaining to helping you grow as an individual. So make a change. And then, when you're done with that change, reach out to me on social media. Let me know how it went. Let me know what I need to improve and what we should do together so that we can make this channel the best it possibly can be. I love you all. And like that, peace out.